Maak maar foto's, maak maar foto's.
The countries have to find the money. It's not easy. These are political decisions. I totally recognize that. But at the same time, there is absolute conviction with my colleagues at the table that given the threat from the Russians, given the international security situation, there is no alternative. We've got to do this, really.
Good morning, sir. We'll start right here, and in 3, 2, 1.
Sorry, that's actually asking.
Can you believe it?
Thank you.
That's amazing.
So ask also for me.
That's the picture we want.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you slept well.
It was great.
Yeah.
Thank you all very
I assume that we will make a joint decision today to provide NATO with significantly better resources in the future. We will take a decision that in the future NATO will make an additional 3.5% and 1.5% available for infrastructure for our armed forces. All of this will take place with great consensus, because we agree that the threat situation has changed and the threat is Russia in particular. Russia not only threatens Ukraine, Russia threatens the entire peace, the entire political order of our continent. Asked about Article 5 of NATO's charter, U.S. President Donald Trump told reporters on Wednesday, June 25, ahead of a meeting of world leaders at the Military Alliances Summit, "We're with them all the way."
They have better seats than I do. We're with them all the way. I mean, if you take a look at the numbers, we're with them. And they have very big things to announce today. I don't know if you've taken the vote or you're going to take the vote, but I've been asking them to go up to 5% for a number of years, and they're going up to 5%. They're not going to be fighting each other. They've had it. They've had a big fight, like two kids in a schoolyard. You know, they fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes. Then it's easier to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language to
You have to use
stop
strong
them.
language. Every once in a while, you have to use a certain word.
It's an effect on all of us. And we let these autocrats and dictators win. I'm coming to see my good friend Donald Trump. As you know, Donald Trump is now on the side of autocracy, not democracy. So I'm here to give him encouragement, here to destroy democracy in Europe.
We're doing all of this, let me remind you and put this back in the middle of discussions, because there is a Russian threat. I said a couple of months ago to our fellow citizens, for years now, we have been living through the third Russian war in Europe, which brings this threat. Russia is not strong enough to represent a real threat to NATO, as the alliance is far stronger, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban said on Wednesday, June 25. NATO also has no business in Ukraine, Orban added ahead of the NATO summit in The Hague.
Do you expect that Russia will be mentioned as a threat or an adversary in a final statement after this summit?
It's all, I think Russia is not strong enough to represent a real threat to us. We are far stronger.
Handling the figures, creative accounting.
You like it? NATO has no business in Ukraine. Ukraine is not member of NATO, neither Russia. And my job is to keep it as it is. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, everybody. We're going to have a press conference in a couple of minutes. So.
Absolutely.
You said you would clarify your stance on Article 5 just yesterday. Is that something you can explain
I stand
today?
with it. That's why I'm here. If I didn't stand with it, I wouldn't be here.
So you would defend countries even
Well,
if
what
they
did
don't
I
pay
just
out their
say?
fair
Yes,
share?
of course. Why would I be here?
With this plan, allies have agreed to invest 5% of GDP in defense. This is a significant commitment in response to significant threats to our security. It includes at least 3.5% of GDP invested in core defense requirements, a benchmark that until today was set at 2%. A target that I'm pleased to say all allies will now meet this year or have already met, and ensure that our 1 billion people can continue to live in freedom and security. But I think he's a good friend, and when he is doing stuff which is forcing us to, for example, when it comes to making more investments I mean, would you ever think that this would be the result of this summit if he would not have been re-elected president? Do you really think that the 7 or 8 countries who said, yeah, somewhere in the 2030s we might meet the 2%, we've now all decided in the last 4 or 5 months to get to 2%? So doesn't he deserve some praise? And when it comes to Iran, the fact that he took this decisive action, very targeted, to make sure that Iran would not be able to get its hands on a nuclear capability, I think he deserves all the praise. So, Volodymyr and colleagues, it's good to see you as to our joint endeavor in Poland, JTEC. And I have military assistance. Several nations at this table here today.
Well, on the question of Ukraine, the position in NATO has not changed, nor has my position changed. In fact, over the last couple of days, I would say in my discussions with leaders, there's been a real resolve that now is the time to push again to get Putin to the table for the unconditional ceasefire. President Zelensky has, for many weeks now, indicated his willingness to go to an unconditional ceasefire. Now is the time for Putin, who's been dragging his heels, to come to the table.
Spain is always the solution, Carlos, it's never the problem. We provide solutions, we defend our positions with conviction, and I believe they are also shared by the majority of our country's society. We're talking about the fact that if we had accepted what was proposed, Spain would have had to allocate more than 300 billion euros between now and 2035. Where do these resources come from? From more taxes on citizens? From cuts to the education system, healthcare, and pensions? Speaking at a press conference at the end of a NATO summit in the Netherlands, U.S. President Donald Trump said it had been a monumental win for the United States.
Serious question. I think you just had a meeting with President Zelensky. Did you discuss?
And this is a monument, really, to victory, but it's a monumental win for the United States because we were carrying much more than our fair share. It was quite unfair, actually. But this is a big win for Europe and for actually Western civilization. That's a lot of questions.